It feels so blank back there. Like there should be something in the background. I'll grab something. I don't know. Got a few things to decorate for a little bit. Now that side feels empty. The Virgo in me is... Why is it so hard to choose books? It shouldn't be this hard. A few more things. Okay, I think I'm ready to do this. So this is a strange experimental video. Shocking, I'm doing something weird. Yesterday I had this experience and I felt compelled to talk about it in a video. Ever since I had my accident and I was able to talk about it on the video, it helped me process, and the responses that I got really helped me heal and be able to move forward a lot more quickly than I expected. And so I thought, well, I'm having this psychological experience and it's something that needs to be processed. So I just said, I'll just video it and see what comes out. So today I haven't watched it back, but I thought it would be interesting to watch it and respond to it. It's very Russian doll inside of the experience that I had now with some perspective. This is part of the processing of astrology and why astrology is relevant. Astrology is relevant because if you can go back and find patterns and you can label it with archetypes and planetary movements, they can help you process the whole meaning of your life. That's the whole point, I think. I'm still working on it, but that's working hypothesis. Okay, here we go. How do I start this? What do I really want to say to you? I feel like I'm getting closer and closer to the meaning of what astrology actually is. And it's just the tip of the iceberg, really. I'm starting to really see some wild patterns, and it's taking me a lot of time to figure out what it means. Like, what is this happening? What is happening? It's almost like the Matrix. Like when you really do start seeing it, you're seeing through this veil of materialism into a reality that's a code. It's a code. As soon as Pluto went into my fourth house, it's just been an inundation of those fourth house topics of the past and the psychology and the things that I've had to face before where I didn't maybe have the bravery or the courage or the strength or the maturity at the time. They're coming back. They're coming right back. And it's almost like a part two. Like, can you handle it this time? Like, are you gonna walk the talk? Is that the saying? They're always so uncomfortable. Can it just be comfortable? No, it can't. It can't be comfortable. It has to be uncomfortable. The end. It has to be uncomfortable, but there's a variation. There's a variant. I think that you get exactly what you're supposed to get and the level that you're at in order to start moving forward. And some of those extreme experiences that you may have or other people have or people that you love have, it's hard to see the meaning in them in the moment because they're extremely difficult. The last few weeks have just been one hit after another, spot on. Like I never really look too much at my own astrology because I like to just live my life and I don't want to be thinking about, oh, what could happen, this or that, whatever. That's just not my way. But lately I've been having to because so many extreme situations have been going on in my life. Different things, stuff I would never be doing, stuff I would never go for, stuff I would never experience, reactions I couldn't imagine having. So the thing that happened at my brother's wedding was a big one. And I knew it was going to be significant. And so I just waited. I said, okay, this is happening on a significant day. It's a wedding. It was Venus square Uranus from 7th to the 4th in my own chart. And so I'm like, okay, let's see what this is going to be. And when it manifested, it was, it was such a weird experience because it was one of the most traumatic things that somebody could have brought up in the most inappropriate setting of a wedding, a union of two people that are in love, to bring something up like this. And the way in the past it would have gone down would have been so bad. And it wasn't because I was done. I no longer let it control me. Oh my God, I'm feeling like I'm moving a lot. Yeah, definitely moving a lot. You are. But the thing is that it wasn't good. It was still bad. It still didn't go well in a way because it was uncomfortable and was challenging and it was bringing back this crap from the past. But what did go well or go differently was pretty amazing. And all I kept thinking was, holy crap, it's Venus square Uranus 7-4. And that gave me power. It empowered me. Instead of saying, oh my God, this is so bad and I don't want to go back to the past and then, poor me. It was not about that anymore. It was more like, okay, there's astrology. It's giving me this opportunity to rewrite something that's been following me like a freaking ghost for so much of my life. So much of my life. And I just stood up to it and I said, nope. A little more I want to add to that, and hopefully this is helpful to somebody out there, is that the feeling I have for the person that brought that up is not anything other than gratitude, which may sound weird. They put me in a place of the past, which I don't want to be, obviously. I mentioned that a few hundred times. And they put me in this situation that sucked. And other people in my life that I love very much sucked for them too. And the thing is, I don't have any bad feelings, hard feelings towards them whatsoever. I still love them. I still love them. And that's what's so weird about it, because I feel like in the past, if that would have happened, I would have had a feeling of aggression or a feeling of anger towards them, resentment. That's the word I want to say. I would have resented them for doing that. I would have felt like they were doing something to hurt me on purpose, you know? Airplane. Just in time. There's so many airplanes today. Always irritated by the airplanes. It's a theme. Just gotta wait them out. Yeah. All right, go on, go over, do your thing, get out of here. It's like the old days used to have cigarette breaks. I have to do, I never smoked, but I mean, that's what came to mind. I have to do helicopter breaks. Take a break, okay? Take a breath. I don't feel any resentment towards that person. I don't feel anger towards them. I feel grateful because they provided an opportunity. They acted in their part as a player, and they thought it was funny. They didn't understand how bad it was. That's the other thing. They just didn't understand. So today I met a friend that I haven't seen in years and years. Here's where we pick up the story, and that's why I'm quite agitated, because I just spent a few hours with somebody I hadn't seen in 5 years. And they were very close to me in the time that we were together as friends. And since then, we haven't talked or seen each other. And a lot of things have changed in her life, massively changed. And things have changed in my life. But when you take two parallel lines, like we were two people together and in a relationship of friendship, and we diverged, our paths diverged. She went one way and I went another, but when we come back, we're still relating to each other as if nothing has happened, because in my experience of her, she's the same, and in her experience of me, I'm the same, basing our experience with each other on the past. But for me, I'm just not even that person anymore. I'm so different than I was, and it was surprising to be faced and it was surprising to have an interface with a person as if I were that person 5 years ago. Does that make sense? It's almost like the experiment, Einstein's experiment of relativity. Twins, let's say you have twins and you put one in a rocket ship and it goes into outer space at the speed of light and one stays on Earth. By the time the twin comes back, it's still a baby, and the one on Earth has grown and is like an old person. That's kind of what it feels like. Yeah. And it's not like I wasn't this person that I am talking to you now. I was this person, but I wasn't strong enough. I wasn't brave enough. I was too fragile. I was too sensitive, too afraid to be who I really was and express that. And it puts back a highlight on some of those issues of seeing how far I've come on that, because I always wanted to please everybody. And it was a defense mechanism. So I would think 3 steps ahead. Okay, what does this person want? They want this. I need to act this way in order for them not to reject me preemptively so that I'm still accepted and I'm giving them what they want. But I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand being around people. I couldn't stand being around anybody, really. It was exhausting. I was tired all the time from just not being able to be myself. I was too afraid, though. It wasn't anybody else making me do it. I was doing it to myself. So anyways, meeting up with my friend again was a really weird experience. When I got to the coffee shop, I was there before she got there. And it's in the town I used to live in. I've moved since then. In walks one of the 2 people or 3 people in the world I just never need to see again. Number 1 walks in to the coffee shop. Yeah, that sucked. Yeah, that was a bummer. And I'm like, oh, dang, I do not want to see this person. And there they are in the coffee shop. And luckily, they didn't see me. I've seen them before in another situation a few years ago, and I did my recompense. We talked, and that was it. I'm done. And so this time, I see her there, and I'm like, I am not interested. Not interested. And she didn't see me, so I just got up and I left. And I went out and did some exercise outside and waited for my friend outside. And I felt like really good about that. Instead of thinking, oh, I was being a coward or I didn't talk to this person. I don't have to talk to her ever again. And that was part of the rewriting of that script. Like, I don't have to, and you don't have to. You don't have to talk to people anymore if you don't want to. That was another one of those things from the past, relational, the 4 and 7, the Pluto stuff. It was one of those people I always had to think about. How am I supposed to be in order to just be around this person, just to handle being around them? You can move on. You can be free. And so then my friend comes, and she's been through the ringer. Horrible, horrible, horrible things in the last few years, and very hurt, betrayed, and throughout the conversation, she brings up things that I've said to her in the past that helped her in a way to put some things together about the process, about what happened with this person that she was married to, et cetera, et cetera. And there's things that I don't really remember. And I'm like, okay, cool, I was helpful to you. I mean, that makes me feel good, obviously. Then at one point, she brings up another thing. She's in medical cosmetics, right? So she does Botox and all these things for aesthetics. And she's done that for me before, had Botox from her, whatever. And then she was working for this doctor, and my mom is the luckiest person in the world, and she won the grand prize twice at this big, fancy, aesthetics thing, worth like 10 grand. She won it twice. Okay, that's my mom. I mean, that was the odds of that were insane. There were probably like 300 or 400 people there in each time, and she won it twice. I don't know how she did it. And so she's like, she had so much of it. She's like, Lindsay, you choose something. So I took something from her basket of tricks, and it was some Botox, whatever. I got the appointment with the doctor and not with my friend. And I was going to that doctor because I wanted to talk to him about some other things or whatever, and doing a 2-for-1. So I was like, okay, he'll do this stuff, but I can also talk to him about these things. And I forgot all about this even, okay? She brought this up. And so we're sitting there, and she's like, and it hurt my feelings, really hurt my feelings. It made me think that you didn't think I was as good as him. And I'm thinking, oh, sorry. I mean, and so anyway, that was just a surprise to me. I was like, oh, I hurt her feelings really badly. And I didn't mean to. And then she brought up something else. I wrote a thing about the face, I don't know, a while back. There's this book by Justine Bateman. She used to be in Family Ties, and she's really adamant about the face and how it should be naturally aging. And there's so much prejudice against women that choose to naturally age. Before I read her book, I was under the impression that it was just something we should do. You should keep making yourself look as young as possible, as long as you can. Because that's just the culture that I live in. I'm in Southern California, right? And that's sort of what people do here. But then I read that book, and I thought, dang, maybe I don't. Maybe I don't even care about that. Maybe I don't want that anymore. Or maybe I don't want to be doing that all the time. Or maybe I want to have more freedom within my own choices. And if I didn't ever look at myself again, would I even do any of that stuff? If I knew nobody would be judging me and my face and wrinkles or whatever, would I care about those things? Would I put myself through that? Would I spend money on that? And that was part of my thoughts in that thing that I wrote. And I was rebelling against it, thinking, why? Like, why do I feel the need to do that? And why do we feel the need to do that? And why can't we just like get old like the Golden Girls? Like, what's so bad about that? What's so bad about wrinkles? What's so bad about aging? And so I was having this feeling because I was getting these Botox and things like that. And I'm like, I'm on this circle of, whatever this is, and it's hard to get out of it once you're in it, and it's so expensive. And so I was having all these my own issues with whether I thought it was valuable or not. And so I wrote this thing, and for the most part, everybody that read it was like empowered by it, and they felt good about it. So she brings it up today, and she says that I hurt her so badly writing that because it was as if I was discounting her work, her life's work of being, aesthetic medical person, and that wasn't valuable and all this stuff. So that was two hits. So two strikes on me, and it just was so bizarre because it was a revelation. Actually, I was fine with it. I'm like, fine, if you want, I was happy to talk about it. I was happy to express my own experience, and absolutely nothing was intentional for her, hurting her. And it just reminded me that there's no absolute truth. Like, my intention was one thing, but her interpretation was another thing, and both were true. So even though I had absolutely no thought of hurting her feelings writing that and saying stuff about that industry and how it can go so far that people start to look distorted and they don't even look human anymore. They don't look normal. And then the people that can do it really well, like Jennifer Lopez or whatever, like, how old is she? Like 70? I don't know. She's not that old, but she looks like she's 25. How? It's true. She does. I mean, if you haven't, it's impossible how she could look that good if she was just a normal human. A lot of help. They're doing stuff to their faces all the time because they have money and they can, and they have good doctors. When I was a kid, it was the Golden Girls. They were in the Rue McClanahan, I think, is like 52 or something in that, and she's a retired old lady. It's just so different now. It's so different now, and I just loved them. I loved that show. I was actually looking forward to being an old lady because of that when I was a little kid. I just thought it was so cool to live with like four old ladies living together.
And not just for the kids. I just feel it's time I gave something back to the chicken community. After all, a chicken once saved my life.
I just thought it was great. And now we don't have those kind of role models of beautiful aging women. And anyway, that was what I was thinking about when I wrote that thing. But the fact that she took it so differently, it just shows the prismatic truth of subjectivity, and how the words we say or the things we do can be interpreted in a way that's not intentional, but it's necessary for the person that's interpreting it that way. A lot of times we get into disagreements or arguments because we're trying to align reality. Yeah, that's what brings me back to more perspective on the thing that happened at my brother's wedding. This experience with my friend and her saying, you hurt me, you wrote this thing, and you hurt me, you went to this other doctor. And I had no intention. I was a villain for her in a way, just like this person was a villain for me and didn't really intend to be. But it was designed. It was part of the astrology. It was like, okay, this thing's up, timer's up, deal with it, bro. Deal with it, girl. So that's what was going on. It's rare to find somebody that you share reality with, because reality is so dang subjective. And when you don't, it's uncomfortable. Like, whoa, that was not my experience. So therefore it's not true, but that's not the reality of the reality. Oh. So even though I didn't face my neighbor, I still had to face my friend and having hurt her in a roundabout way. I thought I was getting out of it, I don't have to face this person that I've had old karma with and I am done with, but I still had to face something else. I wasn't off the hook. I was watching this interview with Carl Jung, and one of the main things, the takeaway was that he said that we need meaning, and meaning can be derived from analysis of the experiences we have. And astrology can help with putting those archetypes into comprehensible elements of meaning. I'm being very honest and very clearly sharing things I would have been ashamed of before, ashamed of myself. And I'm tired of being ashamed. I'm tired of hiding myself. Like, just so tired of it. I just don't want to do that anymore. I don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to do that anymore. Seriously, I'm making my own self cry. I don't know what kind of craziness, psychological stuff I'm going through right now, but I'm making my own self cry. But it's true. It's true. That's real straight from the heart. For real. I was listening to this video with Watts was talking about Jung, and he said the power of Jung was that he accepted and incorporated and assimilated his darkness. In order to help anybody else and accept anybody else, he has to do it, we have to do it as the person is, as they are. I like you as you are. You don't have to change, okay? The as you are part is the critical point, because if you come at somebody with a judgment of their darkness, there are dark people. My friend's husband, dark. But in order for him to ever change, somebody would have to come at him and say, I see you fully. And the only way to see somebody fully is to see yourself fully. And that's very vulnerable, obviously, because there's judgment. Judgment will occur and incur. And judgment of ourselves is probably the worst. So the point is, to share those things is to approach life with a vulnerability of acceptance of my own darkness, that the evil is inside everybody. The darkness is in me too. I can go either way, and you can go any way, either way too. We all can. The concept of evil or darkness or hurting someone else is even subjective, because a lot of times people do things to us they don't even know. They don't even know what they're doing. And we come from our own mental space, which we know so well, very familiar territory, and we think everything in that structure, in that framework of what we know, that's our reality. And so when somebody does something that doesn't fit in that reality scheme, or we can't see another version of that truth, like why they said that or why they did that, like me and my writing about the face to my friend, hurt her, profoundly hurt her. There's just so much more to the prism than good and bad. That makes it powerful because the choices we make are empowering. The choices we make are deliberate, that we can evenly go either direction. And that if we continually choose the path of growth, enlightenment, learning, philosophy, processing, making meaning out of your life, no matter how horrible and hard things get, there's meaning. There's meaning in it. There's beauty in it. And that's what makes life worth living. Yeah. So you're still here with me at the end of this strange video of, what is it called? Remember that movie, Inception? That's what it feels like. You're still here with me at the end of Inception, El Natale style, thinking about all these things and the reality of truth and how it's just so freaking obvious, but it's so hard to understand. It's so hard to get to. And that's what the interface of astrology is for. The myths, the personal myths, our stories, our experiences, the love we have with another person, and all the people in our lives that we love, all the people in our lives that we don't like, all the people in our lives that grow us and challenge us. It's a miracle. It's beautiful. Anyway, lots of gratitude to you, and I like you just the way you are, no matter what. I'll talk to you soon, okay?